Hello everyone, welcome to RotoMoulding Leadership. This is an event, it's basically a dialogue with the rotational molding business leaders. The simple objective of this program is, it's basically a mini MBA class to understand about the rotomolding industry leadership and also business management. Through this program, we invite well-experienced business leaders and we invite them to share their experiences. So that's an objective of this RotoMoulding leadership. As you know, this is managed by TechnoBiz. TechnoBiz is a company based in Thailand. For the benefit of everyone, or maybe some of you know already what is TechnoBiz all about. Some of you may know a little bit, some of you know a lot. So let me show you a short, introductory presentation on the TechnoBiz and what are the services we're offering to the rotomolding industry. Okay, that's about the TechnoBiz. I'm hoping that you have an idea now about TechnoBiz and what kind of services we offer, and also with relevant to the the rotomolding industry. So now we're into our rotomolding leadership. I'd like to inform all of you, this rotomolding leadership program is actually jointly developed by Mr. Martin Spencer. He is the host of this program, and we jointly developed this one, and he is currently managing director of the Unique Roto based in UK. I think many of you know him already. He has more than 35 years experience in the rotomolding industry with extensive experience in production machinery on the rotomolding products, but also his worldwide reputation for the innovation. He has produced products for many market sectors, including sailing, kayaks, road signs, building products, industrial components, technical tanks from the small to very large tanks, and also sports equipment. a well-experienced Martin Spencer is hosting this program today. Martin, over to you.
Hello, and hello everybody. Thanks for the introduction. As Piram has already said, this program going forwards, we'll be discussing with various leaders and entrepreneurs in RotoMoulding from around the world. We really want to discover what their successes have been and what their failures have been in the industry. We hope that this will help you to increase your understanding of the RotoMoulding industry and hopefully to develop your company profitably. Today, we're going to be talking to the CEO of Flotex. Flotex is a company based in Turkey, and they have a worldwide reputation for innovative RotoMoulding, and particularly for their testing center and for their R&D within the RotoMoulding industry. So I would like to welcome their CEO, Celal Beysel, to this discussion.
Hello, everybody. Now I think I'm here.
Okay, good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I hope you're well.
Yeah.
So if we could start out by you giving us a little bit of information about your company today and what you are doing and what product lines you're in, and just generally about what's happening at Flotex at the moment.
Flotex was founded in 1977 by me. It was a textile company in the beginning. That's why the name Flotex. But in 1983, I decided to go over to plastics, as I was a chemical engineer and I had my master's degree in plastics. So during those long years, from 1983 to 2022, we have become a highly vertically integrated company in RotoMoulding technology. We start from raw material compounding and pulverizing. We design our products and molds. We construct some of our molds, not all, some of our molds. Sometimes we have simple items to RotoMold, sometimes very highly technical custom molded products. So we are the pioneer of RotoMoulding in Turkey. We are the first, and we are still, since after all these years, we are the leader of RotoMoulding in Turkey.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. So a little question about that. So when you decided to move into plastics from textiles, why did you choose RotoMoulding, or did RotoMoulding choose you through products you needed to make?
Well, I was living in a city where cars and minivans are produced, and I have seen that one of the minivans had a metal diesel tank, which was rusty and leaking. So I was a young chemical engineer, and I was thinking, why don't we do it in plastics? So I visited lots of exhibitions, mostly in Germany. Then I talked to some people in Turkey of the automotive industry. I knew some people there, and while I was visiting exhibitions, I ran into RotoMoulding machine producers and rotomolders. One of them was Rolf van der Wijk in Holland, who has taught me how to rotomold. He has invited me to his company. I was able to work there for 2 weeks with my jeans on at the machine shop, and I learned RotoMoulding like that. So I chose RotoMoulding.
So you chose RotoMoulding to try and solve a problem that you had seen.
Yes.
Okay. So what difficulties did you have to overcome in those early days to allow you to get started?
Well, of course, there was nobody who knew RotoMoulding in Turkey. There was nobody who knew how to produce the molds, how to construct the machine. etc., etc. Raw material, everything was missing. So I had to do everything by myself. So probably therefore I see that the strength of RotoMoulding is the person owning the company or running the company. If the one running the company loves innovation, product development, fighting with technical problems, and also has experience, then she can produce perfect products. However, if his RotoMoulding is an easy technique where one can be successful with cheap molds, cheap machinery, simple workers, that will be the weakness of RotoMoulding and his company.
Okay, so what generally within the plastics industry do you see the advantages and strengths of RotoMoulding, and what are its problems and weaknesses?
The weakness of RotoMoulding is that, for example, you see thousands of books about injection molding, blow molding, extrusion, etc., plastics. But RotoMoulding is a niche industry where you don't find much literature and many people to teach you RotoMoulding. So therefore, we should respect all the associations which gather together many people from RotoMoulding industry and programs like this to teach people what RotoMoulding is. So to overcome the weaknesses, I think the most important thing is to talk to as many people as possible, to visit as many exhibitions as possible.
Okay, and the strengths?
The strengths of RotoMoulding is that if you're innovative enough, you can produce products which you cannot produce with any other production technique. You can, with your own credentials, you can solve many problems. For example, in injection molding, you are bound to a machine, and the boundaries of the machine is your limits. But in RotoMoulding, your design capability is the limit.
Okay. Which business sectors do Flotex work in, and which have been particularly successful for you?
Well, we have been working mostly in automotive sector since 1983. So we have built up the automotive sector very slowly. So we have a good reputation because of our long history in RotoMoulding. And later we started to produce also underground water tanks and sewage systems. That came in 2008, sorry. 1908 would be. So
molding by then.
yeah. Well, when you look at it, these are the two sectors which are actually the hardest in RotoMoulding. They are hardest to enter, but they are also hardest to copy. So probably that's why we have been so successful and with less competition. So we also do commercial products, of course, but these are just, these are products which everybody does, and we try to fill that gap too. But our main job is automotive and sewage sector.
Okay, and what about competition, both local competition in Turkey and global competition? Now you are concentrating on markets that are global markets.
Yeah, as I said before, if you swim in shallow waters, you will have lots of competition and you may drown. your skill may not be enough to keep you above water, because in shallow waters, the skill will be to be able to fight the competition. If you are far away from the shore with your own skills, with your techniques, you do not have much to worry about the competition. All you have to worry about is that you stay at the top of the technology. So we have always been trying hard to stay at the edge of RotoMoulding technique. Therefore, we have never been affected by competition. I must say, we have never been affected by fair competition. Our biggest problem has always been unfair competition and copycats.
Okay. And what about by unfair competition? You mean people who are pricing, in your opinion, incorrectly, or try to price down?
Well, you know, you try hard to develop a product, and then your customer brings your plan to the next rotomolder and says, "Look, I have a plan. Can you make a mold? What's the price?"
Yeah.
You have worked for 1 year, 2 years to make that plan perfect, and then have spent so much money, and then somebody gets the plan and starts making the product for 10% cheaper, 5 cents cheaper. You cannot believe how many companies do this, how many big companies encourage big companies. I don't want to name them. Make your work of 1 year, 2 years garbage, just 5 cents.
Yeah,
Tell you out.
Yeah, I have experienced similar things in my time in manufacturing, where we would put an awful lot of effort into designing and getting the right materials and everything else, and then maybe we even start production for a few months, and then they find somebody that will do it a few pence cheaper, or a few cents cheaper, and it's good. So some companies try to tie their customers in by owning the molds themselves, but I've always found that very difficult. I think people are uncomfortable if you try and do that to them. Have you had a similar experience?
Yeah, well, in automotive business, it's mostly the car companies who own the molds at the end of the day. But while you are designing the product, it's always your idea.
Yeah.
The company tells you, make me a product like this, and you start making designing the product for your rotomolding machine. And you spend lots of time to design the product so that you make finite element analysis so that it does not deform under a vibration, blah, blah, and G-forces. You have the plan already, and you say, okay, this is my product. I will produce this for you. And they bring it to the other guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, unfortunately, and it's a worldwide problem. You see it everywhere in the world. There's always someone that thinks they can make it a little bit cheaper, or they can make it a little bit cheaper because they've not invested in R&D or design and things like this. So they haven't got to pay for those overheads as well as the manufacturing overheads. You've just got to build a relationship with your customers, I think, so that they trust you to give them a fair price, not necessarily the cheapest price, but a fair price for the total job. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's unfortunate. Tell us a little bit about the equipment you use, and both for manufacturing and for the peripheries for R&D, and why you think these are necessary for your type of rotomolding. And if there is one particular piece of equipment that you think made a big difference to your business when you purchased it.
In the beginning, in 1983, I started constructing my own machinery. So, well, of course, you lose lots of concentration by doing that. You start producing your machinery, and are you going to produce your products or your machinery? Machinery has problems, you have to solve them, blah, blah. So in the year 2000, I started buying new state-of-the-art machines. And I have seen that it's not worth trying to construct your own machinery, because you can never be, whatever you are, you can never be as good as a good machine producer. So there are many good machines throughout the world. Of course, you have to choose the best one. We have always been using one type of machine for now 22 years. We have 8 machines, all of them same brand, and we are happy with it, because if you use the same brand, what if it's good? Same brand, meaning your people know every single screw of your machine. So if something goes wrong, we can repair the machine in no time. So the machines are very important. But some piece of equipment is also very important, and I find the most important equipment, which for RotoMoulding, is in-mold temperature measuring equipment. You put your mold into the oven. If you don't know what's happening in your oven, you will never be a top rotomolder. So we are using, since over 25 years. The first time Queen's University Belfast had produced the in-mold measurement device, I have bought it. So since then, it was, I think, 1998. I don't know. You should know better. Since then, we are using in-mold temperature measuring equipment. R&D equipment. We have many R&D equipment. I have seen no other rotomolder in the world who has as an enhanced R&D department as ours, because we are doing lots of R&D projects. So I mean, our R&D, the value of our R&D equipment is as 2 of our machines. You could buy 2 rotomolding machines, yeah, as for the value of our R&D department. I stop here.
So on your temperature monitoring, do you have products where you monitor the temperature of every product, or do you just use temperature monitoring for setting up?
We use it for setting up. We use it, first of all, for the first product. The first product production in rotomolding is very important. We have 2 people in the company who are in charge of producing the first product, because it takes some time until you get the first product correct. If you don't have an in-mold temperature measurement device, you will lose so much time and so much money that it is worth investing in mold temperature monitoring equipment.
Okay. Do you foam sandwich anywhere? Do you use foamed PE? Because yes. I found foam PE, we needed to use temperature monitoring really on every cycle, not just for setup.
Absolutely correct. Sorry, I forgot to say that. In foam manufacturing, we use, as you said, the temperature monitoring always. I must say that there are some products which we have memorized, which our machines also have memorized. There, we may not use even during foaming. But most of the time, foaming without monitoring, temperature monitoring, will not be successful.
Yeah, because it can be affected by ambient temperature and humidity, particularly. So if you're not monitoring it very accurately, it
Absolutely,
can.
yes. Yes.
So you use it for setting up all new products. Whenever you have a
product,
all
new products with in-mold temperature monitoring.
Okay, so just coming forward a moment, what effect on your business are the current fuel price increases of gas and oil and polymer price increases having?
In Turkish, we have a saying: if a burden comes to everybody, yeah, it's not a burden. So if everybody lives the same problem, it's not a problem anymore. Every plastic sector is influenced by raw material prices. So the problem actually is the problem of the consumer plus payment problems. That's the only problem. Otherwise, we are not. Our capacity have not been affected nowadays.
Okay, so you say payment problems, that's your customers find it difficult to pay you because of the increased price, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, and what about availability? Are you managing to get the polymer that you need to get?
I know that this is a big problem, but we are on the market since 40 years, so we have lots of people whom we know, whom we can call and say, hey, come on, send us some more. So but that's a problem. I know that's a big problem.
Okay, but it hasn't affected your business too much in Turkey?
No.
Good. So what do you see for the future of RotoMoulding then, with obviously the anti-plastics lobby? Is that affecting it, or is it going to affect it going forwards? And do you think that the polymer prices will continue to increase or stabilize?
Well, first of all, with the introduction of hydrogen and hydrogen fuel cells, battery, the usage of fossil fuels will diminish slowly. So we will have more and more petrol for plastics, which means I actually see the raw material prices in 15 years from now getting less and less because there will be petrol available and nobody will use petrol in their cars. That's how I see it. So it will be the raw material prices will not increase in future, in long-term future, I feel. The future of plastics, well, there is a wrong perception of plastics. Everybody says plastics is bad for environment, but nobody sees that plastics which are used once are bad for environment. But how about a fuel tank which can be used for 20 years? How about a sewage tank or a sewage system that can be that is guaranteed for 50 years, 60 years? Why should plastic, which is used for 50 years, be bad for the environment? And in fact, even later you can recycle it. So I think this perception will change slowly, and people will understand which plastic actually is environmentally hazardous and which are not.
How do you think, as an industry, we can help people understand this difference and help promote our products as a long-term beneficial products to the environment as opposed to a problem?
I have seen about 30 years ago, a brochure of Association of Rotational Molders of America saying, why is plastic better than wood environmentally? Our products, not plastic, our products. People are ready to accept that something is bad and are not ready to accept that something is good. So if you see on the TV, plastic is bad, everybody will listen to it. But if you hold a speech for half an hour saying that long-term living plastics are not bad for the environment, and thermoplastics, which can be recycled, are not bad for the environment, nobody listens. So it is a hard job. But we should, I myself, try to explain it to my surroundings, my customers, but I don't know how successful we are.
Yeah, it's difficult. I'm always trying to do it. You know, friends that I meet, as well as people in the industry. But I think as an industry, we've all got to try and do that and try and change the perception. But I think and there's several things really, even with single-use plastics. The main problem is the people that use them, not the plastic.
Throw it away. If you don't throw it away, no problem.
People need to start to see plastic more, perhaps, as they do some metals, as you know, infinitely recyclable and a valuable commodity once they're finished with, so that they can try to collect them and pass them on. But it's going to be a hard job to convince people of that, I think. So tell us about some of your achievements within the industry. How do you think you have contributed towards the rotomolding industry worldwide? With products you produce, maybe, or innovative products or process?
Well, first of all, I learned rotomolding from Ruud van der Wijk without paying him a penny. Therefore, I feel obliged to go around throughout the world and tell people about rotomolding. I mean, this is an obligation that I have to Ruud, I feel, because he was not hesitant to teach me everything he knew. So I'm going throughout the world to, as you know, India, Australia, wherever it takes, France, Germany, England, America, and talk to people and tell what I know. So I feel this is one of my achievements, to tell people about rotomolding and to try to promote rotomolding throughout the world, because this is not competition. This will bring the technology level of rotomolding to a higher level, and this will make our customers realize that rotomolding is not something, a cheap production method. That's what I feel. Well, we have lots of patents in Flotex. We have introduced newly a new product which makes deep cores of molds with deep cores to have the same wall thickness everywhere. It's a heat pipe technology, and I think this is something which I have achieved in my company, and I hope we have patented it for some products, but also for the whole world can use this to have, I repeat, even wall thickness at the deepest cores of the mold. That was one of the problems of rotomolding. So this is one in the industry.
So how will you market, or how will you make this technology available to the rest of the world?
For the time being, not really. The reason is COVID. I mean, I did not have time to go around and tell. Since 2 years, I have been the first meeting I went to was in America 2 weeks ago, and I have not been around because everybody, me, my wife, we were all afraid of COVID. So maybe from now on, I will try to promote this product throughout the world. This product is not. This product is actually being used. It's not. There is no secret about it. But the way we use it, we have never seen it. So that's why we could patent it.
Okay, but people will be able to get a license to use it, tool makers or manufacturers?
Absolutely, absolutely. We already have a license in India.
Right, okay. And is that license, will that be to the product manufacturer or to the tool
manufacturer? Product manufacturer.
The tool manufacturer, right,
yeah.
Okay. Okay,
yeah.
So if someone was...
One more achievement.
Yeah,
go on. For the industry, that's for the company. I have many colleagues in my company who learned a lot while they are working. There are colleagues with us who work since 30 years, 35 years in Flotex. They know RotoMoulding as well as I do. I am proud of it. Another aspect is our R&D department. I founded the R&D department as a separate department, and we have many valuable engineers there. Oh, by the way, all of them women. All our colleagues at the R&D department are women, and the head of R&D department is also a very skillful woman, young woman. So this is another achievement. And the third is I have educated my 2 sons, and I have transferred my daily business to them. This is my achievements in Flotex.
Okay, good. So looking at the business generally worldwide, how competitive do you think you can be in Turkey in a worldwide market, both with labor costs and land costs and building costs, that type of thing?
Production costs actually do not change much. Raw material is same price, energy is about the same price, machines are same price. So what is changing? The workers, the price of workers are changing, but that's also diminishing in the cost of the in the production cost. What is more important is that our design cost, our mold production cost, mold design cost in Turkey are much less than throughout the world, because we have valuable engineers who are ready to work for a less wage than the engineers in Britain, for example, but they are as skilled, because I mean, skill, an engineer is an engineer. So therefore, this is where we can compete with the whole world.
Okay, and do you think, you say with the whole world, so you think that Turkey is competitive against China and India and Southeast Asia as well as Europe?
Well, I am India. India is in the same class.
Yeah.
India is in the same class as we are. When they have the know-how, they can be competitive to Britain, very competitive to Britain and America and Germany. But we, I mean, we cannot sell, for example, molds to India. We cannot construct molds for India. They are as cheap or cheaper, or let's say more economical than we are.
But are they as good?
Sorry?
Are they as good in India? Is the engineering as good on the molds? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, and what about the industry generally in Turkey? Have you now got many competitors? You obviously say you were the first and the leading, but have many competitors now set up in Turkey?
For high technological products for automotive, we have only 2 competitors which are smaller than we are, and they can only beat us with price. They cannot beat us with quality, neither capacity.
And what about the more basic moldings, like water tanks and things like that? You've got a lot of
basic moldings. Oh my God, that's a nightmare.
Right.
That's a nightmare. There are 100. There are, as in India, for example, there are 100 rotomolders in Turkey who produce water tanks. And if you want a cheap water tank, don't come to Flotex. I can name 100.
Okay, and are some of them producing such low quality products that it's affecting the market, that people are beginning to wonder whether a rotomolded tank is a good purchase?
I would say in the beginning it was so, but slowly they have learned also, and slowly they are also using better materials and better machines. In 1995, in 1983, I had no competition. In 1992, competition started. And between 92 and 2000, I had a nightmare because we were mostly producing water tanks and very little technical articles. And in 2000, I went over to R&D department. I bought my machines, and I did not produce my machines anymore. And I bought new machines. So suddenly it changed. But between 92 and 2000, when I was fighting with a low price competition, it was a nightmare.
And what about the general economic situation in Turkey? Do the government support industry or help you with your R&D? Or are there international companies looking at buying companies in Turkey or their own plants in Turkey for rotomolding?
First of all, the R&D subventions in Turkey are good, meaning not financially, but the government is trying to do actually really their best for the R&D subvention and give some funding to the companies. It is not enough, but that's what they can do. So we should accept that. We as Flotex, we are doing European Union projects, and we are getting funded many times, many multiples of what we are getting funded of from Turkish government, from European Union. So if you're doing R&D, if you're doing real R&D, you will be funded in Turkey or in Europe. I don't know what the situation is in Far East, India, China. I don't know that. But yes, the Turkish economy nowadays is not at its best days because of our inflation rate of around 50%. But I must say, I have lived in 1978 inflation rates of 100% in Turkey. So I'm immune.
Yeah. I remember coming to Turkey in those days when just for 2-3 weeks, where in that period of time your money was worth less in 2 weeks, and it had to be very difficult times, I think.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad. It will get better, but there is a problem. I must accept. But still for example, we are still investing.
Okay, so you are confident for the future.
We are confident for the future. We are still investing.
Okay, and the second part of that question was, obviously, if you look at China, to some extent India, and Eastern Europe, big international companies have invested in rotomolding factories in those areas. Is anybody looking at doing that in Turkey at the moment?
Well, there was a time when some companies looked at Turkey to invest. In fact, even we have talked to them for 3-4 months. But the international companies most of the time want to buy the best company for the cheapest price.
Yeah,
we are not. We are not interested.
Cooperate with that. No.
We are not interested. No.
Okay, so if you could think about entrepreneurs who are thinking of coming into the rotomolding industry today, not just in Turkey, but perhaps in Southeast Asia or India, or those areas, what advice would you give them?
The worst trap in rotomolding is copying. When a company starts copying a better company, first of all, it kills the better company. Second, it kills itself, because the better company, what will the better company do? It will bring the price down. It can sell for loss for some time, more than the newcomers. And it is also killing the industry, because people will look, hey, rotomolding, oh, nobody is gaining any money. Why should we go into that sector? So this is the worst thing a newcomer can do. They should not replicate, they should not copy an existing product. They will exhaust themselves and the competition. So if you want to make a similar product, okay, we all do that, but try to produce something better and to a higher price, not to a lower price. So that's what I would say to the entrepreneur who is trying to enter the market. Don't get into price wars, because newcomer will always lose.
And what about technology? If you were coming into the industry today, what sort of decisions would you make about buying machinery or you know, other technical equipment?
Well, that's a very good question, and of course, you know, the best questions to ask. Well, our technology is combustion ovens with heating with gas. So these ovens will in future have problems of carbon footprint. I feel, I don't know, nobody is talking about it yet, but someday they will start talking about it.
It is being talked about. New Zealand have said that they are thinking of bringing in a law to stop commercial gas ovens and diesel ovens being installed, and people will have to look at electric.
So if somebody comes into the sector, they should think of electrical heating. But at the same time, it's not easy, because the molds are more expensive and more elaborate, and there are not many mold companies who can produce good electrical molds. So there's a big problem there. So I feel that for 10 more years, the combustion ovens will still be the king in rotomolding, and after within 10 years, governments will start saying, hey, we cannot do this anymore. But maybe, I don't know, in future, hydrogen combustion ovens may be used. although nowadays hydrogen is used for fuel cells and electrical equipment, in future we could use hydrogen ovens, combustion ovens. But I don't know whether this is just I don't know. Maybe you know better in about this than I do.
Well, I think in the UK they are experimenting with putting a percentage of hydrogen into the national grid of natural gas at the moment, and they've been experimenting as to how high a percentage of hydrogen they could put in.
Yeah.
So whether that will actually go forward and become general policy, it's only been on experimental basis at the moment. And what do you think is, you were obviously talking about the more expensive molds where you've got direct tool heating, where you've got the electrical heating directly on the tool. What about, do you think there's any future at all for electrically heated ovens as such, or not?
That's not as good as combustion ovens, because electrical combustion ovens are convection ovens, and combustion and convection go well together. But electrically heated ovens with convection do not go well together. So the use of electricity in convection ovens will be very expensive. You can only do that in countries like Iceland, where electricity is cheap because it's coming out of the earth with your steam from the earth.
Yeah. But you think going forwards then direct tool heating, where we put electrical elements onto, at the moment, aluminium tools will be the future.
Yes, that's what I think. But it will be very hard for us, for companies like us, who have 2,500 molds.
Yeah.
For convection ovens, to change over to electrical molds, which are 3 times more expensive. And until we get 2,500 molds, electrical molds, that will take some time.
But would you consider that type of machine and mold at the moment if you had some very technical products to produce?
Well, we have calculated that. For the time being, it was for some products, it was worth it. For products, for example, if you have one product which runs throughout the year, we have calculated. I don't know, anybody can calculate for himself, of course. We have calculated 2 years ago, when the oil prices were not as high as today. We have calculated that you can use an electrical mold, electrically heated mold with a electrical machine, only if you have a product which runs throughout the year.
So we're talking
6,000.
Yeah, 6,000
pieces.
Yeah.
6,700 units per year, or a very technical product which needs double layers, which needs very thin layers. Then you need, and a combustion oven cannot do that. So then you need an electrical oven, electrical machine. So you have to calculate, everybody has to calculate for yourself, for himself or herself.
Okay. And what about materials? Obviously, our industry has been very polyethylene based, and still is very polyethylene based. But do you think now, particularly with the electrical heating technology and better temperature monitoring, we have got opportunity to look at other polymers?
Absolutely, yes. Electrical heating can bring lots of different materials which cannot come with convection ovens, because in convection ovens you can go up to a certain degree, but with an electrical oven there is no limit. So the limit is your mold.
Yeah.
The temperature when your mold is going to melt is your limit. So so I think electrical ovens will, with electrical ovens, you will be able to mold lots of different materials. First of all, there are special materials which need 2 temperatures. You cannot adjust 2 temperatures, have fine enough 2 temperatures with a convection oven. You can adjust with an electrical oven 2 temperatures. So, I mean, the future is, the future for technical parts is electrical ovens, that's for sure.
Okay, and what about the industry generally worldwide? Have you any regrets that was a decision you took to move into rotomolding in the plastic industry, or any good memories and benefits from having done so?
Well, I have a friend in America, George Kramer. I don't know whether you know him. Krakow Industries. 20 years ago, I was talking to him, and he said, "Look, Celal, let's face it, rotomolding will not make you rich." So if you're only after money, there are better industries. But I'm having great fun.
Okay, and
So
you're having great fun with what? The engineering challenges, or the?
Well, I earn enough money. It did not get me as rich as the Microsoft guy. I get along, and I have a nice factory with many happy people around. I can do my R&D at this age, and no problem. So what else can I want for myself?
Okay, so you don't regret having come into this industry?
No, not at all. Not at all. There have been times when I regretted, when some people copied my product, for which I keep telling this, for which I had worked for 2 years to develop. And in one day, one big company said, that guy makes it 10% cheaper. I said, go to that guy. I'm not doing it.
And what happened in the end there? Did they stick with that guy, or did they end up coming back to you?
They did.
They stuck with him?
They did.
Yeah. And he's been able to make it successfully?
Yes, because they subsidized him substantially.
So although they were getting, they had to subsidize him to get it 10% cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what else about the rotomolding industry would you like to share? Have you got anything else, any more information for people to the industry or coming in?
Rotomolding is very hard. People entering rotomolding should know that it's not an easy sector to get in. They should not go into rotomolding because they see, oh, water tank, it's so easy. I took a look. It is just a 2 millimeter sheet mold, and they produce hundreds. Oh my God, so easy. No, if you go like that, you will be unsuccessful. If you want to do good products, good customers, for example, lots of rotomolders in Turkey now suffer because they are on the cheaper side, whereas we are on the high level of rotomolding. We keep our customers, they keep on paying us, no problem. So if you want to have a successful rotomolding business, you should look at it as a serious business, hard enough but worth to do business.
Okay, yeah, I obviously agree with that, because I have always thought that niche technical markets are where the most enjoyment is, but also when you are successful, not when you're having problems, but also you're less likely to lose your customers moving to someone cheaper because it would be too difficult to make, or they won't have the relevant technology.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just coming up to our hour at the moment. Do you want to sum up with your feeling about the industry and perhaps about this interview, or introduce some others?
First of all, Martin, thank you very much for this interview to you and to Peram. It's been wonderful talking to you. And also, as I said, I'm happy to share my ideas and knowledge with everybody. If anybody is interested, they can write to me via LinkedIn, etc. I can answer questions. So first of all, this has been a very good 1 hour with you. As I said, I am very happy that I have chosen RotoMoulding. Once I had said in India, you know, because I don't want people to get the idea that, oh, hey, let's get into that sector. The machines are cheap, the molds are cheap, etc., etc., and then fall on their noses. No, so I told them, look, RotoMoulding is a hard industry. Automotive sector is the hardest, so be careful, etc., etc. Somebody said, sir, if you complain so much, why do you sell to these? Why do you still sell to the automotive industry? No. When you do everything correct, it's a wonderful industry, and you get to know so many people throughout the world that I advise to everybody to enter RotoMoulding and to join us and to talk to us and talk to everybody.
Good. Well, it's been great talking to you, Celal, and hopefully we can meet up face to face and have a proper discussion in the very near future, having not seen each other for a couple of years or so now.
Yeah, correct, Martin.
Thank you very much for your time today. I have found it very interesting. I hope our audience have found it insightful, and hopefully they have learned some things. I've tried to, we've had 1 or 2 questions come in during the discussion, which I've tried to introduce into what we've been discussing. So hopefully we've answered everybody's questions that they have immediately. But as you say, if they want to contact you, they can do it direct through LinkedIn, or they can come through TechnoBiz and we can put them in touch. Okay. And also, if you miss bits of this interview, it will be available online on YouTube after we have finished today. So it should be loaded up in the next few days once PRAM's had time to edit it slightly. So thank you very much again.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye for now, and hopefully we'll meet up soon. So everybody else, we will be continuing this series on the 27th of April, when I will be having a discussion with Bill Spenceley, Flexer Hopper Plastics in Canada, who has some interesting technology on renewables, which is probably one of the leaders in the RotoMoulding industry worldwide, as well as some very interesting products and history with his company. So I look forward to welcoming you all back on the 27th of April, and please tell your friends about it if you found it interesting, so we can get even more people along next time. Thank you very much for coming along today and your attention. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Martin. It's an excellent interview with Celal. Okay, so that's the end of this session today, and you can watch this episode on our YouTube at the TechnoBiz channel. Please look for the information within the next 24 hours. And I thank you all for joining this session on the RotoMoulding leadership. I'm hoping that you find it useful. I look forward to welcome you in the future programs. Thank you all. Bye bye for now.